Hello and welcome to this week's energy forecast. My name is Laura, and every week I talk about the energy for the week ahead. But if at any point you need guidance about anything and can't get into session with me, just go back to a video that you feel called to and you will get the guidance you need there. So, a little experience I just had, which I think is a perfect example of what's up this week, what the vibe is. And so I was in session all day and, doing my thing, feeling really good, really present, really focused. And then I finish up with my last client and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I'm hungry. And I'm making some chicken, and as the chicken's cooking, it's like, oh my gosh, oh no, I'm really hungry. And there's almost this desire to eat other stuff. I'm like, nope, the chicken's cooking. That's what we're gonna be eating. And when I finally got to eat said chicken, it was so much more delicious than I remember chicken being. And this is a little story for when we want something so bad and it hasn't come into full fruition yet, that when it does come, it will be so sweet, so worth the wait, that you will be thankful for the process that it took to get to you. And when I'm hungry, I get a little hangry. And if you told me that in my process for waiting for the chicken, that it's worth it to wait and, it'll be well worth it and I'll appreciate it so much, I may have said, yeah, I don't know about that. But having just experienced it myself, that we don't always have to have this level of drama where you're so hungry, right? Like I could have done a better job eating throughout the day where I didn't get to this point of discomfort, but we do it a lot, We're in a job for way longer than we really want to be, and when we see the new option on the horizon, we get really hungry for that new job. And so often this is a little bit of us not being very good at listening to ourselves and our needs, listening to how this feels, waking up every day, going to this job. And we get comfortable putting up with the not so great feelings that come along with it, right? Like I was hungry a couple hours ago. I had a smoothie that I could definitely drink, but I was like, I'm not that hungry. I'm not that. And then you get to this point of like, I'm so hungry. I need it right now. But I had to wait for that chicken to cook. There is a timing to all things. So I guess there's a couple lessons here that, when you know something, you know something. Like I knew I was hungry and I could have made a different choice and got to that manifestation sooner. But because I didn't, that wasn't the wrong path. It was just, if for every choice you make, there's a repercussion, there's a price you pay. And the price I paid was feeling like antsy and hungry and borderline hangry. So I urge you to pay attention to how you feel, because though something may not be ready to pop yet, like I talked about last week, like we think we want it now, but it actually needs a little bit more time. Like if I had taken that chicken out a little too soon, gross, right? That's not good for me either. So I can learn from my experience and prepare myself in a different way. And I can also take this experience as like, I'm not wrong for having waited. I learned a really valuable lesson, and I really appreciated that chicken when it finally did show up. And maybe you've had that experience with a partner, sitting in this squeaky chair. You've had this experience with a partner where you kind of know you're done with them, but you hang on because there's not a better option. That's not wrong, right? It's just one way to go about it. And oftentimes we as humans prefer what's familiar, and we would prefer to stay in the comfort of what's familiar instead of having that space and being a little uncomfortable while that other thing we want is coming to us. But a big word that kept coming up for, people I know and also my clients is transition and crossroads. So this week you may feel kind of this agitation. People are really gearing up for whatever fall is bringing to them. And there's this little bit of a hurried energy. I mean, look at the squirrels. If you're in the Northeast, like they're all over the road, right? Everyone is kind of storing up for winter. There is this sense of like, we have to hurry, we have to collect. So maybe that feels good to you. And if it doesn't feel good to you, just witnessing the pace of everybody around, like, okay, this is the general pace of people right now, but I don't have to be at that level. I don't have to keep hurrying along. I can take my time with things. I get to choose the course I take. I don't have to get swept up with the momentum of other people. So the beginning story about the chicken. Sometimes we, like I was saying about staying in the relationship a little too long, like, well, I could leave, but like, it's not that uncomfortable. And not me, I could eat, but it's not that uncomfortable. So remember, that's a conscious choice. I'm just gonna stay. I'll wait to eat. And then when it was time to eat, it was like, oh my gosh. And there's something to feeling so relieved. Oh my gosh, this is the best tasting chicken ever, right? We sometimes like the drama of being uncomfortable to feeling really comfortable. So maybe you're in a little darker place in your life and you're feeling quite uncomfortable. I'm not saying you're liking it, but maybe you're making it harder on yourself than it has to be. Maybe there's a glimpse of, a silver lining, some sort of lesson, some sort of joy you can find in where you are that isn't all like drab, oh, this is a shit situation, I want to be in a different place right now. It's like, well, there's lessons to be learned always. So what's on offer for you? What lesson are you learning with what you're going through right now? And that kind of makes the suffering worth it when we find meaning. There's also a bit of nervous, like I said, the kind of that hustle bustle, collecting for winter energy. Well, like yesterday I was super tired and I didn't want to tidy up. I had people in person today. I didn't want to tidy up and, I was tired. So I let myself rest. And a part of me was going, well, you could just push through this tired. You could just suck it up. You could just tidy up now and not have to do it tomorrow. But what felt better to me yesterday was to stretch, meditate, do some breath work, relax. Like that's really what felt good to me. Have some tea. Like I very rarely do that in the evening for myself. And I was like, oh, this is good. I'm so glad I made this choice for myself. My inner child too, who needed a little bit more tending too. So then today I wake up with that kind of nervous, buzzy energy. I start my boot camp for my black belt on Friday, and there's a requirement that I have to pass for Friday, and I'm like, ready to go. I wanna go right now. And what I was interpreting as nervous energy is like, I'm so ready. I want to go right now. It's excitement, it's joy, it's like enthusiasm. I've been waiting for this. I'm so ready. I'm so ready. I just have to go through the motions like, oh, I'm so excited to get to work. So me yesterday, I didn't realize that I'd have all this like excitement, kind of nervous, jittery energy. So you know what I did a really great job doing today? With all that energy, is tidying my house. I cleaned the floors, right? I made the bed. I did all of these wonderful things and I had the energy to do it. I could have done it yesterday, which would have been really hard. And today I would have had some time, but think about like that nervous energy. If I hadn't listened to what felt best to me yesterday, which was just to chill out and instead push myself to do something I didn't want to do, then I would have had all morning to sit and reel. Like I have my workout tonight, so it's not like I was gonna exercise. So, I wasn't even consciously thinking of that. I didn't know how I was gonna wake up feeling this Monday morning. So remember to trust yourself. Remember that trust really comes with practice, right? When you're in a new relationship, you learn to trust that person versus like, oh, I just trust you. So if you haven't been honoring yourself and holding boundaries and respecting yourself and putting yourself before other people because you're the only one that's going to do that, then getting into a trusting relationship with yourself may be a little bit of a process, a little trial and error, and that's okay. I have definitely taken, I was feeling tired, but it really was the best choice to go ahead and clean, and I didn't do it, and I felt the repercussions the next day. Like, I've definitely fucked this up so many times, but this time I hit the jackpot. And really, I will be honest, that comes from practicing this. It comes from listening to myself over and over and over again, and the tiniest little things. Like, I wasn't going to do this energy forecast because I am still going to class, but I was going to make more chicken for tonight instead. But I'm not going to sizzle chicken on a video again because we don't need firecrackers in the background. So I was going to do that, and then I thought, you know what? I'm just gonna do this instead. This feels better to me. And because the past 2 days, the outcome has been quite positive for me when I listen to myself, I trust myself more now. I'm like, you know what? You're right. So like, I have this top on top, which I wore for work today, and then I have my workout pants on the bottom. I'm like, I'm just balancing things a little differently. There wasn't some magical equation. There isn't some like, oh, you're so gifted. Nope, it's just me listening to myself. Just, right? I know it's not just. It took me a really long time to start doing this, and in the past couple weeks in particular, I've really been listening more about what really, like, let's be real, Laura. What are you really capable of? Not capable of, what do you really, like, what's your limit today, and where, like, how far are we willing to push that? How good are we willing to be to ourselves? How much do you care about feeling good? Joy is what I want. So if joy is what I want, that's a really easy option. And in deciding for yourself, what do I want? Is accomplishing things like the top of my list. Joy is what I want. So I make choices out of what's going to bring me the most joy. And I still, get through my responsibilities. I still take care of the business I have to take care of, but I do it in a manner that feels best to me. And the outcome has been beyond my wildest expectations. If feeling good is your top priority, let that be your guide. If accomplishing things is your priority, let that be your guide. But know what you want, know what you're really focused towards, and let that be the filter through which you put every question, every choice through. Thank you, as always, for tuning in to this week's energy forecast. If you need any assistance at all, I am here as your humble guide. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a wonderful day, evening, afternoon, wherever you're at, whenever you're tuning in, and I look forward to talking to you soon.